I just wanted to give you some help getting started with this task. It's a little bit late, but better late than never. So the first thing is to follow the link to the instructions, which will open a Google Doc with all the instructions in there. So first of all, set up your Google account and your Google Drive, and then watch this video which will teach you how to add Edity software to your Google Drive. Once you have the Edity software, you can then set up an Edity workspace. Okay, so I know that most of you have managed to do that, so I'm going to move on to look at the instructions on this page, which will be about this actual task. So what we're going to do is open a new HTML document in an Edity workspace and call it index.html. Okay, we're then going to load this HTML into that workspace and preview it to see what happens. So you need to go first of all to your Google Drive. Okay, find your Edity folder in your Google Drive. Make sure that it has this picture of a person on there so it's shared to the whole world. So we need to make sure that we share it, and it's anyone on the internet can find and view. If you don't see that, you need to click Advanced and go in there. So once we're in Edity, let's start a new folder for this exercise. So it's new, new folder, and it is first web page. It may not be your first web page, but it's the first this unit. If you now go into this folder, you can create a new HTML file. If you've got Edity installed for HTML, you can start a new HTML file. Okay, we want it in this shared folder, and we do want it to have the same sharing permissions. We want this to be available to anybody who wants to access it. It's a pretty good idea to make sure that all of the web pages you create are available to people that want to come and see them. Otherwise, how will the public see your web page? So now we have our Edity file. Notice it's already opened up in an Edity window. Now, this is fine for the moment. So we're going to take this, I'm using a shortcut by the way, hold down Alt and press Tab, and you can flick between screens. So hold down the Alt key, press Tab, and you can flick. So we're going to, where's the task? There's the task. So we're going to take this HTML, and we're going to press Control C, or we can right mouse button, copy that, and we're going to paste it into this file. I should also have renamed this index.html. Index.html. The reason we call it that is because a web browser will automatically look at this as the very first file when it goes into a folder. So this is automatically updating the preview. Now, the next instruction on the exercise is add the contents in each of the 4 sections of your web page. Follow the example below. So some of this is still loading, apologies for that, but let's try and get this all about me into the header here. So first of all, we need to find a div called header. There it is, and there's the end of the div called header. Now it's a really good idea that when you type code, before you begin typing, notice how it's automatically indented from the edge of the page. Now this is great. Everything inside this div will be indented to this point, and if I were to start another HTML tag in here, I would indent again, so that we're constantly indenting. And the reason we do that is to make it easier to find where's the beginning and the end of our div tags. Now I want it to say all about me, so I type that in. Now you'll notice it doesn't look quite the same as this, so we need to change the style for this div tag. Now there are several ways you can do it. You can either do it here by changing the style information here, or you can do it in the head. You can specify style information in the head up here. Or the third way is to link to an external style sheet. But at the moment I'm just going to do it in here. I'm going to actually write the style in here. Now, either you will remember how we changed the HTML to make it appear like this, or you might need some help. The good news is that when you're using HTML, you don't really need to remember anything, because the internet is always full of tutorials to explain how to do things. So let's pretend we don't know how to make this font impact and how to make this heading style and how to center the text. So we're going to go down here, we're going to look for a relevant tutorial. Now, header, font style, color and alignment, this sounds perfect, and there's 2 tutorials on the W3 Schools website that will help us with that. So let's go over there now. I'm going to right click, start in a new tab, just so I don't lose this page. So that was right click, start in a new tab once I'm over the link. And this page will give us some information about how we actually change the HTML so the style will be the same as in the example. So here I am in the tutorial for changing the fonts, changing the colors, changing the size, that kind of thing. Now notice here there are actually 2 tags going on. We've got an H1 tag, which is a header tag, and we've got a P tag, which is a paragraph tag for regular paragraph text. Now notice that within the H1 tag, the opening tag, we've got a style equals attribute, and in here this is actually JavaScript. So in here we're including style information. Now notice we can use font family to change the font family, and we want it to be impact. So here in the header, here we are, we want to add to this style tag here. So we're in the header, we've got all about me, we want to change or add to this style information here. Now height 50px. Now what I can do is put a semicolon, and it's font hyphen family colon impact. Follow it with a semicolon, and notice how the font has changed to impact. Right, font family. We also wanted to change the font size to 20px. No, actually font size. Actually, let's not worry too much about the font size, because the tutorial didn't actually specify it, but we could also add a font size attribute like this, font size style. Control C, copy, go back to your index, and let's paste that in there. I always leave a space after the semicolon before adding style information. So font size 20px, and we could of course make that even bigger if we wanted to, like that. 40 pixels, the px stands for pixels by the way. Now the one other thing that we needed to do is align this in the center. So if we go back to our instructions for the task, we want something that teaches us about alignment. So the first tutorial didn't do it, so maybe it's the second tutorial. Again, open, right click, open link in a new tab. And here we have another try editor, so we can change the properties in here. And it looks like this style information here is going to align my text in the center. Let's just change it and check. Let's just see if I put left here and then see what happens. Yeah, so it's definitely, this is definitely the style information that is going to align the text in the center. So I can just copy and paste this style information into my HTML. So again, leave a space after the semicolon, paste it in, and there we have it. Okay, that's now looking exactly how I want it to look. Okay, I'm sorry these images aren't loading, but I'm actually referring to this offline document here. Okay, that'll do for now. Hopefully that will help you a little bit in knowing how to find help using this task. Good luck.